The Boeing lifted off from Chicago O'Hare a little past midnight, its twin engines humming steadily as it cut through the winter night sky. From the outside, the jet looked like nothing more than a silver streak, swallowed by the blackness above Lake Michigan. Inside, cabin lights dimmed to a warm orange glow, casting shadows over weary passengers. The flight to Seoul was scheduled to take 4 hours and 20 minutes, an overnight run most hoped to spend asleep. Seated by the window, Mei-chin closed her eyes and tried to let exhaustion take her. At 32, she looked unremarkable to the casual observer, black hair tied back, gray sweater, jeans, no makeup. She carried only a slim black satchel under the seat in front of her. The businessman beside her had already dismissed her as an introvert, the sort who avoided small talk. What he couldn't see was the depth of her fatigue, the layers of experience behind those quiet eyes. Maya was no ordinary traveler. She was a captain and airline pilot with over flight hours, most of them in the very aircraft she now rode as a passenger. For a decade she had commanded flights for one of the nation's largest carriers, and before that, she had flown sea transports through sandstorms in the Middle East and across the icy tundra of Alaska. She had wrestled with engine fires, navigated electrical failures in darkness, and once landed a crippled aircraft with only partial hydraulics. Few things rattled her anymore, but she had wanted this one night simply to rest. Only 3 days earlier, she had been in recurrent simulator training, a grueling ride every captain faced twice a year. 6 hours in a dark simulator, engine failures, cabin depressurization, electrical malfunctions, rapid descents through blizzards, endless scenarios designed to push even veterans to their limits. Maya had passed with ease as always, but it had left her drained. So tonight she boarded quietly, content to be anonymous, just a weary passenger in Sita. Up front in the flight deck, Captain James Morrison adjusted his headset and rubbed at his temple. At 59, with flight hours under his belt, he was a respected figure, a man who had seen aviation evolve from analog gauges to glass cockpits. But tonight, he was not at his best. A dull ache had been gnawing at his chest since late afternoon, something he had attributed to indigestion. He had told anyone, not even First Officer Liza Park. Liza, 32 like Maya, was relatively new to the right-hand seat of the. She was sharp, methodical, and eager to prove herself. Morrison had been mentoring her, reminding her to trust her instincts. The two had reviewed weather charts together before departure, noting a storm system building over the Pacific Northwest. Turbulence, heavy precipitation, wind shear warnings, nothing they had seen before, but concerning nonetheless. For now the cockpit was calm. The autopilot held them steady at feet, their route arsing over the plains toward the Rockies. Morrison sipped coffee from his thermos, glancing out at the pinprick stars, while Liza monitored engine readouts and weather radar. Back in the cabin, passengers shifted into uneasy sleep. The businessman beside May had tied furiously on his laptop until fatigue pulled at his eyelids. Across the aisle, a young mother soothed her infant with whispered lullabies, while an elderly couple debated softly whether Seattle's forecast would delay their connection to Anchorage. The steady white noise of engines created a lullaby of its own, masking the undercurrent of worry the storm briefing had left in the crew's minds. Maya felt her body slipping toward sleep. For the first time in days, she let her guard down. She was not Captain Chin tonight. She was just Maya, passenger now. The emergency. It began quietly. Morrison shifted in his seat, grimacing as pain flared sharp across his chest. He reached for the yoke instinctively, his breath coming in shallow bursts. Liza noticed immediately. "Captain, you all right?" Morrison opened his mouth to answer, but only managed a strangled gasp. The color drained from his face. A moment later, his hands fell from the controls as he slumped sideways. "Captain!" Liza shouted, grabbing his shoulder. His body was dead weight, eyes rolled back. She checked for a pulse, weak, thready. Her heart pounded, but training surged forward. She keyed her mic. "Mayday, mayday, mayday. Seattle Center, this is flight declaring an emergency. Captain incapacitated. Request immediate vectors and medical assistance on arrival." The controller's calm voice responded, but Liz's eyes darted to the radar display. Ahead, the storm cell glowed an angry red, stretching across their path like a wall of fire. She was alone at the controls, facing turbulence that could tear the aircraft apart. A call for help. In the cabin, passengers stirred as the intercom crackled. Senior Flight Attendant Janet Rodriguez steadied her voice before speaking. "Ladies and gentlemen, This is your lead flight attendant. If there are any licensed pilots on board, please make yourself known immediately. Maya's eyes snapped open. The words cut through her exhaustion like a blade. Her instincts screamed at her to act, yet a tiny part of her hesitated. She had wanted one night of rest. She had wanted to be invisible. But there was no choice. Diddy had found her, even here. She pressed her call button. Shinnet appeared almost instantly, eyes wide with urgency. Maya leaned close, speaking quietly but firmly. "And an airline captain. 8,000 hours, Boeing type rated. Take me to the cockpit." Relief flooded Janet's face. "Thank God," she whispered, ushering Maya forward. Into the storm. The cockpit door opened to chaos. Captain Morrison was unconscious in his seat, oxygen mask hastily applied, while Liza gripped the controls, sweat shining on her brow. The aircraft jolted violently as turbulence began to bite. Mia stepped inside, her voice calm, authoritative. "And Captain Chin, let me help." Liza's eyes widened but she nodded, grateful. "Radar shows set your cells dead ahead. I can go through that alone." Maya slid into the jump seat, scanning instruments with practiced ease. The pilot was still engaged, but struggling against buffeting winds. Fuel reserves were tight, Seattle was marginal but reachable. She pointed at the weather radar, tracing an alternate route around the storm's worst core. "Fly 20 degrees south. Let the plane ride the turbulence, don't fight every bump. I've got your back." Liza adjusted course. The aircraft groaned as lightning flashed outside, illuminating boiling clouds. Passengers gasped, gripping armrests as the cabin shook like a toy. Through it all, Maya's voice remained steady, guiding Liza step by step. "Ease the nose. Watch your speed trend. Trust the instruments, not the horizon." Minutes stretched into eternity. Hail rattled the fuselage. Downdrafts yanked the jet downward hundreds of feet before the autopilot clawed back altitude. But slowly, steadily, they carved a path along the storm's edge. A descent. At last, the radar screen cleared patches of calmer air ahead. Maya exhaled softly, tension easing from her shoulders. "You've got this," she told Liza. "Take us home." Seattle approach cleared them for priority landing. Rain lashed against the windshield as the runway lights pierced the clouds. Maya called out the checklist items with quiet precision, her voice the anchor Liza needed. "Flaps, gear down. You're stable. Keep it coming." The runway rushed toward them, wet pavement gleaming. Liza held the yoke firm, hands steady now. The main gear touched down with a solid thud, reversers roaring as the aircraft slowed. Applause broke out in the cabin as passengers realized they had made it. Aftermath. Emergency crews swarmed the plane. Captain Morrison was stretchered out alive, his pulse stabilized by paramedics. Liza sat trembling, the adrenaline finally ebbing, tears welling in her eyes. She turned to Maya, voice breaking. "I couldn't have done it without you." Maya smiled faintly. "You already did. I just reminded you how." As passengers deplaned, many glanced at Maya with awe, some even thanking her without knowing the full truth. A businessman from B stared in disbelief, realizing the quiet woman beside him had helped save them all. Maya declined recognition. She gathered her bag, slipped quietly down the jet bridge, and disappeared into the terminal's fluorescent glow. She had boarded as a tired traveler in Zeta. She laughed as the unseen hand that carried souls safely through the storm.